Personal branding is important, but it really boils down to your goals, right? The best way I can say this is money will never lead, money will always follow. Meaning you should never build a personal brand or a brand in general just to make money. You want to build a brand to actually provide value and really generate loyal followers. Because loyal followers, if they're loyal and they believe in what you're selling, they will buy. You won't even have to ask them.
Welcome to the Kind Boss podcast, brought to you by Outsourcing Angel, an Australian-based social enterprise that specializes in helping business owners free up their time and reduce staffing costs, while helping to create employment opportunities for people in developing countries. Visit outsourcingangel.com today. Now, let me welcome your host, Lynn Podetti.
Hello, kind listeners. I'm your host, Lynn Podetti. Today, we'll be speaking to a kind boss, Jaiden Vu, Forbes featured entrepreneur and CEO of 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝘆. Jaiden is a leading branding media expert and sales trainer. He has spent years in the social media space crafting his own personal brand as a high-ticket sales agent. The success of his personal brand has enabled him to use his knowledge and experience to work with other aspiring sales entrepreneurs to achieve the same results. Listen on as he shares how his mission of helping people break out of obscurity has motivated him to build strong quality brands for his clients. Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Kind Boss podcast. And today I have Jaiden Vu from Canada. How are you, Jaiden?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, Lynn. I'm really honored.
No worries. Well, we met recently online. I was just amazed at your energy, your passion. And I remember you wearing a t-shirt that says, billionaire in the making or something. I'm like, that's me too. And so I really love that we're kind of in line with our goals and dreams. And so I wanted to invite you today to talk about what got you into business in what you're doing right now, but also sharing your expertise around branding and social media, because that's what I'm trying to ace this year. So let's start with the story of 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝘆. Like, how did you get to do the business right now?
Yeah, a lot of questions in my head. Okay, so how I started 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗆. So for all the viewers out there, 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗆 is a startup I did about 3 months ago. It was an ongoing project, but basically we help small businesses and individuals scale from no authority to a massive authority, building credibility in the social media space. So basically it started from my own little personal journey. I dabbled with Instagram about 3 years ago for fun. And it was just to share my story, right? Just a little background. Why I started it was because I was depressed, and then I fought severe depression for 7 years of my life. And then I figured, if I was able to do this, and I'm not a gifted or talented individual, and I grew up from a poor economy and poor childhood, if I can fight this, because there's statistically 1 in every 5 child or just person out there, they suicide or severely depressed and then suicide. So I figured if someone that like me that suffered from it for 7 years, there might be a good possibility that this capability of mine is actually meaningful and worth something. So I started my social media journey posting about how I overcame depression, suicidal thoughts, and I guess it resonated with people and it blew up from there. Long story short, I started actually making money from Instagram. People are really reaching out to me via DMs and asking me to sponsor them or sponsor me, kind of just
Influencer.
Yeah, that attack got my tongue there. And then I realized, okay, so it was just for fun, kind of like a passion project. Now it turned to a source of income. And then from there, it started making me steady income. And then from there, I really decided, if I can do this myself with really no social media background, I'm pretty sure I could teach other people. So I built a social media company that did very well. And then 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗆 is really just kind of more of a personal touch from that social media company that I kind of sold off. But pretty much the difference between what I did back then and now is I'm personally coaching people exclusively, as opposed to just running an automated software and social media platform.
Gotcha. So when you got yourself on Instagram and you were sharing your content, what were you actually selling? When people DMing you, are they buying your social media service, or what was the things they're buying from you there? When you're saying you're generating business and you started to make money, was it because you already had a service that you're selling, or you're just purely being an influencer and sponsoring brands and kind of thing?
There's a two-pronged answer. So to answer that, first start off by people poaching me. It's just like, hey, look, we love your account. We want you to try on our product and post a photo and talk about it on our story, share it, and we'll pay you. And I was like, at that time, I only had like 8,000 followers. I wasn't big or anything, right? I mean, I'm still not big. I was like, why do they want someone like me? After we talked, I was talking to the founder and the CEO at the time. They're like, well, they resonated with me, did a lot of research. I have a lot of engaging people that actually bought into my account and my story. So anyways, I did that, got paid nice $35 or something. It was my first dollar coming from Instagram. And yeah, that's how it started. It just kind of skyrocketed from there, and other brands started poaching me, and I had fun with it. On the service side, part B, was that I wanted to create this mastermind group to start by really having a whole bunch of people, kind of like this groups that, you know, you go in and then you share a little content here and there, but it's not serious, more the kind of like a reminder, or you just check back, right? Kind of like keep people accountable. So I started a group like that. I called it a New Hustlers group. And basically it was only for individuals that wanted to grow a brand. And then I would charge them like maybe $15 a month. And then I had over like 1,000 people in the group. And all I did was weekly posting a video of how Instagram works, algorithms, what you should be posting, what you should not be posting, really just giving them the 411, but it was not really a hands-on. Yeah. And that branched off to going like, okay, you know what? Funny enough, dark world of Instagram, people pay for instant gratification. They pay for likes, they pay for comments, they pay for more story viewers, they pay for more followers. And then when I got into that realm, I was sucked in, not from a consumer's point of view, but from like a business owner's point of view. I was like, if people are willing to pay for 1,000 likes, why can't I do the same thing? I got together a bunch of engineers, we built our own software and algorithm. And then, yeah, we just built an agency off of that. And that's how I started making money.
Gotcha. And so, you know, I know that most of the people who do make money is kind of that way, where they end up selling some sort of training or mastermind. How about people with a business? Let's just say, you know, I run an outsourcing angel company, right? I'm creating these content. Is there much luck for me to actually generate them to buying VAs, for example? Or should I really it's just great for personal branding and then becoming a coach or something? Let's say someone else runs a fitness business, gym, let's say. Do you think that it's still successful for them to build up personal brand on there, hoping that they'll buy the actual service of the gym? Or is it only successful if you're trying to sell some coaching, you know, some sort of like mentoring? Because I think that's what I found most people find success on Instagram. I don't know, it's just the myth that I believe.
Yeah, great question. The best way I can answer this is, it's tough to say. Personal branding is great for any individual, any business at all, because really what separates company A and company B is really the credibility, right? The best way I can ask it, you there, Lynn, and also the audience, is let's just say you wanted to buy, let's just say a new protein bar. Company A had 100 followers and company B had 1 million followers. Which one would you buy the exact protein bar from? Company B. Personal branding is important, but it really boils down to your goals, right? The best way I can say this is money will never lead, money will always follow. Meaning you should never build a personal brand or a brand in general just to make money. You want to build a brand to actually provide value and really generate loyal followers. Because loyal followers, if they're loyal and they believe in what you're selling, they will buy. You won't even have to ask them. The ones that do really poorly when building a brand is, okay, I'm going to give you something so you understand what I'm all about, but you got to buy this, and people immediately turn off and unfollow. And that's what I see a lot.
Yeah, I definitely am guilty of that. I think when I started Instagram, it's like, okay, how can I generate leads for my business? And I didn't really know what value I'm giving. So I'm kind of using it as like a blog. Would you say with Instagram, how would people know if it's real or fake followers? And are brands just looking straight away going, a lot of subscribers, a lot of followers, I mean, and then, okay, you must be credible? Or are people a lot more smarter now and looking into it more?
Yeah, you kind of hit it on the nail there, Lynn. A lot of brands or business in general, especially the ones that are looking to hire influencers, they're a lot smarter. They understand how it works, right? But for like the naked eye and just the general public, if it's just like, for example, if you didn't really know much about Instagram and you looked at a person's account with like 1 million followers, yeah, you're going to go like, this person's amazing. This person's trending. But if I look at it, I look at my certain little checklist to see if this person is either, you know, just buy all their likes or buy all their followers. Are they credible or not? Like, I understand the game. It's kind of like, once you know the game, you know the rules, and you know exactly what you're looking for. So for me, I know, and these big brands, they know as well. So just because you have a lot of followers, it don't mean anything, right? I've seen some of my clients that I work with. One, for example, is a lady, personal trainer. She has about 5,000 followers as well, but she has more engagement than anyone I've seen with like 50, 10,000 or even 100,000 followers. And she's booking clients like for $200 an hour in session. And in the personal training world, that's pretty expensive.
Yep.
Right. So it really doesn't matter about the followers so much. It's more about the engagement.
Yeah. And that's why you're saying it's important to provide great value content that people actually want to like you. Because I think I was guilty of another strategy back then. So when I was new to it and I kind of didn't understand. And of course, as a business person, I want to see my metrics growing, right? And so there was a service where it's automated, but it's all real followers and fans. So, you know, you pay so that they will do the automation of liking and thingy. And I got all these fans going up and I was like, oh yeah, it's going. But then I guess I realized that what's the point of this when once you stop it, then the fans actually unfollow. What would you say for someone that kind of tried that and now they realize, okay, that's not going to work? Like, what would be the strategy moving forward?
So my tip for you or anyone watching is really what I employ at Black-Peach, what's called intent-based branding. So that's a method I've learned from a lot of gurus and marketers as well, and my coaches. Is intent-based branding is basically a 3-step process. Is one, you define what you're going to be an expert in, right? That's typically the first starting point, because you can't be everyone at any time. And the best way I can put it is, great tip for anyone that wants to get into personal branding is you cannot do YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter all the same time. Okay, you will have brain damage. So it's the same thing with defining what you're going to be expert. Niche down. If you're going to be in sales, define if you're going to be the best salesperson for automobiles, for insurance, or whatever the case may be. Define as narrow as possible. The second step is start with Instagram. Instagram is one of the best platforms to grow a business. The reason I say that is because it doesn't have a lot of engagement as TikTok was, but TikTok is more deemed as really just the best planet or like the best view to have a lot of entertainment. But Instagram is a combination of those two. And obviously, if you just do a little digging, a lot of businesses are very successful on there. So that's step 2. Start with Instagram first, and then you branch off once you spent about 6 months to a year defining and mastering Instagram. And the last step is all your content for the next 6 months is only valuable, informative content that is going to make an impact in small or big ways for your audience. Yeah, so what I mean by informative and valuable content is, let's just say if I'm going to brand myself as a fitness trainer, I'm going to just put content that's not about me, only about really the person I'm trying to sell the product to, is to educate them. Because once you start educating your potential target audience, you start to become more of a known figure in that. And soonly after, that target audience out there, the general public watching, they're going to start really pegging you as an expert. And once you're an expert, subconsciously in their mind, they already know that, okay, they want to buy from you, right? But that's the long stop process. So what I mean by for the next 6 months, you only post valuable and informative content is you really try to figure out a breakdown from a person going from point A to point Z, how you can give them enough knowledge, but just enough so they want to pay you for more.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. Like a lot of people in sales, they want to close more deals. So I'll go like, okay, here are the 3 steps to close more deals. 1 is smile. 2 is always assume the sale. And 3 is have at least 5 different closing techniques before you close. You do this and you will close a lot more deals than most people. But that's vague enough because people, 1, they're like, okay, smile how? Or 2, okay, what do you mean by assume the sale? Like, how can I switch my mindset? And 3 is, okay, you say 5 to 10 different closes, but I don't know these closes. Like, where do I learn these closes? So
that's
now
what makes them interested. Yeah. And so what's your thought around like sharing other content, for example, you know, inspirational quotes, like people that I like, you know, the other school of thought is also getting people to kind of know me as a person, not just, let's say if I was to do outsourcing and I was constantly giving tips around outsourcing, is that too single-minded? And should I also share people's other things that make people understand, to know who Lynn is?
Yeah, great question. That's what your story is for.
Oh, okay. So your stories is where you share behind the scenes of who you are, and
Correct.
your feed is almost the resource where I'm going to get to learn stuff.
Yes.
Okay. So would you say not to worry at all about quotes and other people's inspirational things?
Great question. Lynn, it's really a case-to-case basis, right? Like, I also employ what's called a 70-30 rule, where 70% of it is all informative and valuable content. So going back to intent-based branding is what I'm saying, is 70% of that is how can you change your life, make an impact to the target audience, right? The other 30% is, yeah, if it falls in line within your niche or within your expertise. Yeah, like for example, if you're going to be, I don't know, a cosmetics queen, posting a motivational content makes absolutely no sense within your realm. But if you are, like a motivational speaker, or if you're like a personal development coach, yeah, of course, it falls within line. As long as it complements your niche and your expertise, it should fall within the 70-30 rule.
That makes sense. Clarity right there.
Want to make a difference in others' lives? Join us in providing food, medical supplies, and daily living necessities to tribal communities living in extreme poverty in the Philippines. For as little as $50, you can feed a whole village and have peace of mind that 100% of your donations goes directly to those in need. Be a part of our OA Love projects and visit outsourcingangel.com.
So how often should someone post? We're talking about someone wanting to build a personal brand here. How often would you recommend? And imagine they're not doing anything else, focusing on Instagram right now, right?
If they're not doing anything else, I will quote Gary Vee every freaking day. Every freaking day. If you're going all in, you're gung ho, and you're 100% going all in, and you have nothing else to do, every single day. But realistically, I'm gonna be devil's advocate here and hope I don't offend anyone. But all of us are lazy. I'm lazy, right? Like even the simplest thing of posting every single day takes us about maybe 5 minutes to figure out what photo to post or video, and then it takes another 2 minutes to write out a caption. That 7 minutes actually is. Apparently, we're resistant to spending that 7 minutes to do every single day. So we are lazy. So realistically, if I had to say what people should do every single day, is every other day. Stay away from Sundays. Sundays are the worst days to post.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I thought weekends people are more free and they're browsing the Instagram more. No?
No, I've seen, statistically with Instagram on Sundays, the performance is pretty low. But if you must post on Sunday, key tip here for anyone watching, post at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's probably the best time.
But you're saying recommended every second day, so 4 times a week, or if you really had all the time in the world, do 7 days. Now, what's your thought around engagement? So is there any point just posting your content and with the right hashtags, of course, and hoping that people will find you? Is that enough, or do you really have to spend time engaging?
Great question. So it depends on your goal again. Like the best way I can put it is, I'm going to kind of pause there. I'll come back to it there, Lynn, is the most important thing to winning in branding in really any social media platform is you got to really be more long-term minded, not short-term minded. I've seen a lot of people struggle, and even the clients I work with, they're very short-term minded, where they're like, okay, I'm going to spend 3 months building my brand and I should see clients. And then after they don't, they get so disappointed. The only way to win in branding is you got to be long-term minded, meaning it shouldn't matter to you. It shouldn't really disappoint you or frustrate you if after a year of you posting all these valuable content, not a single client comes to the door. If you think like that, you will lose. But if you think in terms of, I don't care if I get a client or not, yes, you got to feed your family and put food on the table. That's all awesome. But branding is a long-term game because there's so many millions and tens and thousands of this guru, this marketer, this coach, this whatever, right? So be long-term minded. So to answer your question there, Lynn, is I wouldn't focus so much on trying to get clients. The clients will come to you if you're the right person, they vibe with you, you're respectable and you're credible and you have great engagement, and all of that's built on the long-term mindset. But what I would say to help speed up the process is what I usually employ when I started out my company, right? Because we had 0 leads coming in. It was all cold. What I did is I became a practitioner, meaning I would spend literally half an hour every single day DMing at least 20 to 25 people, building a relationship with them for 2 weeks straight, defining their needs, and then trying to pitch them. So in a nutshell, if you want to generate leads and you don't want to really, you want to be able to have the best of both worlds, build content long-term and also generate leads, is spend about 15 to 20 minutes, DM 20 people a day that is your ideal client, and don't pitch them. Just build a relationship, build a rapport, compliment them, get to know them, identify their needs. And once they identify their needs, politely offer the solution. Because right now, I've been crash and burn where I would spend literally the first 5 minutes going, okay, here's my solution. Click on this link to learn more, or I can help you. This is how it talk. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. Really.
Yeah. How important is it? Because I know with LinkedIn, people say that the first half an hour of posting it is very important for the algorithm for you to get a lot of comments and likes so that it pushes the post. Is that the same case with Instagram where you kind of need to have more activities happening the moment you post?
It's just like with any social media content, not just LinkedIn as well, YouTube, Facebook and everything. But when you post, the first 30 minutes is the most critical, right? Because what Instagram's algorithm does is it actually only shows your posts to a small percentage of your followers. And then what happens is they want to test it. So it's like beta testing. They're going to just throw it out there and see if it's highly engaged. So if that small portion of your following actually engages with it, what happens is like, okay, you know what? This post is pretty awesome. It's highly engaged. Let's trend it. Let's boost it up. And then they'll start slowly showing more of your followers. And then if it keeps getting more engagement, then your non-followers and you'll be put onto the Explorer page. And if anyone doesn't know what the Explorer page is, it's literally the 4 button icon on the bottom of the app. And you see the little search button where you constantly scroll through. Yeah, you don't know these people, right? That's what and you want to get on there because it's just your non-followers can see it and they can be more highly engaged. So the biggest problem is there's no certain metrics that I can tell or how many likes or engagement that you got to have before you can get bounced to that next territory or that next tier. But I would just say as long as within the first 30 minutes, one rule of thumb is when you do the post, do not change the post. A lot of people do this. They would post it and then they'll re-edit it and refresh the post again. Don't do that.
So if you make a spelling error or something, just leave it.
Leave it.
What happens when you edit it? What happens if you edit it and you thought, okay, oops, I made a wrong word there. Don't edit, but what happens if you edit?
It's treated as a new post. A lot of people don't know this. It's treated as a new post. And you kind of screw up the algorithm and the timing because let's just say you posted in 30 seconds that you want to change it. It kind of screws up with the algorithm. It's like, okay, so didn't they just post this already? Like what happened? Okay, let's treat this as a new post. So if you got a lot of engagement within the first 30 seconds, they're wiped out.
So once you post, what is the next step that you normally do?
Cross-promoting. Cross-promoting is huge. So if you see a lot of these Instagram gurus, they always cross between back and forth their Facebook and Instagram. I do a lot as well, but I actually funnel people to my specific Instagram posts. Right? So you would post it on your Facebook and you funnel them. So cross-promoting is very important because that first 30 minutes is crucial. And then the last step there is if you get any comments, right away, like literally second to none, you got to reply right away.
I thought that I wanted people not to think I'm so desperate, so I wait to reply later. You just showed us so many tips. So I want to break it up with the next segment, which is called the high five. So this is where I get to know Jaiden a little bit, and of course the audience gets to know you as well. You just have to choose a this or that answer and then elaborate, so we get to know why you've chosen that choice. All right, number 1, Grant Cardone or Tom Bilyeu?
Oh my God, this is such an awesome question. I'm going to choose Tom Bilyeu. Most of people agree with me. And if any Grant Cardone and Uncle G watchers are watching, well, hey, let me explain why I'm choosing Tom Bilyeu. Tom Bilyeu is a straight up honest man. I love him to death. His podcast is out of this world. And his content has changed my life more than Grant Cardone has ever done. I have nothing against Grant Cardone. He's a great guy, but I just feel like sometimes I cannot really see the real him. Tom Bilyeu for sure, and also because he became a self-made billionaire, right? And like through the hustle, the hard work at Quest, now he retires to do impact theory. So like he is all about providing value to the people, and that's why I love him to death.
Yeah, I love him too. He's just so honest and still humble. I met him in person. I paid to take a photo with him. so I'm a big fan of him. Cool answer. Second, YouTube or Netflix?
YouTube. Because at least with YouTube, I know it's going to be more informative. If I just watch Netflix, I'll just binge for non-practical or non-productive reasons.
Yeah. So. I love that YouTube tells you what to watch next. Whereas, because sometimes I don't know what to watch. And Netflix, I don't know what to watch. Whereas YouTube, they're very smart. They just give me ongoing content. So number 3, Zoom or Slack?
Slack. I prefer Slack just because I use it with my team. It's very easy to use. It's Vancouver based. So if anyone
Really?
Slack is a Vancouver based company, so Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. So I'm representing Canada. But yeah, because it's a, I have nothing against Zoom, but Slack is also a lot easier to use, I would say.
Yeah. And you can actually make video calls on Slack as well, if you really wanted to. Awesome. All right. 4, a jet or a yacht?
Jet.
Oh, there you go. Very fast. Why?
Yeah, let me explain why. So this is coming from Grant Cardone. Okay, so this is why he leased a jet. He leased a jet, guys, by the way, right? Okay, I just want to throw a bonus tip out there. Always lease, never buy out things in full, right? You don't want to own something for the next 5, 10, 15 years. You want to lease something. So I would lease a jet, not own
for cash flow purpose, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would lease a jet because I save time. So instead of waiting in line and going to the flights and really waiting for those checks and, whatever the case may be, security, I'd rather just get my own flight, get my own pilot. And if I need to go to a business conference or speak at a seminar or visit my client or whatever, I save so much time by getting my own jet. So the reason why I would lease a jet is I save time.
So cool. And would you go for black or white? Just curious.
White.
What? I saw some black one. It was looked pretty slick, but it looks gangster. Last question. Discipline or perseverance?
Discipline. So I choose discipline just because perseverance is good, but there's something called stupidity perseverance, because a lot of disciplined people can actually get very far in life, and discipline is what actually saved my life and got me out of depression all those years, is because I also disciplined to stay away from all those drugs and really those pills, not hanging around the same people. But if the perseverance was important to me, then all I would do is just go okay, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. But the problem is, without the discipline, I don't know what not giving up means. So discipline has saved me, and I live by discipline. I still do the exact same thing for my morning routine that I did 5 years ago, which is pretty much wake up, I roll up my back on a foam roller, meditate for 15 minutes, I write in my little journal of what's important to me that I want to knock out and crush out for the next 5 to 10 years, and then I take a cold shower. I've been doing that for 5 years. Without discipline, I'd probably be not the same person sitting here right now.
Wow, awesome. Well, yeah, I have the same morning routine except the cold shower, and I still haven't put it in my I want to do list. I'm was it really hard to get into the cold shower habit? Because I'm fearful of it.
Yes, I love my hot showers. And when I don't know if anyone watching.
I feel cold now imagining it, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not fun at all. I hate it every single day, but you got to do the things you hate in order to get to where you want. So there's this man named Wim Hof. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yes. The Hoffman. Yeah. The Iceman. Yes.
Exactly. So when I saw Wim Hof, I'm like, okay, I love this guy. And Tom Bilyeu, had an interview with Wim Hof. I was just like, okay, you know what? If Tom Bilyeu is suggesting for me to do a cold shower, then I'm going to do a cold shower. The first day I did, I squealed like a little girl. I'm like, I'm never doing it again. But then I came across this book called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Yes, I've got that too. Yep.
So I read that book. I was like, okay, this guy went through all of this and I have issues like mental blockage from getting a cold shower, then there's something wrong with me. This can't hurt me. So anyway, every single day it started off with 5 seconds, 10 seconds, then 15, 30, and a minute. And the longest I can go now is 7 minutes of a pure cold shower, and the entire little lever cranked all the way to cold. And I actually did an ice bath about 3 months ago.
Is it as good as what it's supposed to do? So with exercise, we don't all can't be bothered, it's tiring, but the benefit of it is amazing, right? How is it with cold showers?
It is amazing. It raises your dopamine, which you need in order to function. And really it wakes up your whole body. If you ever feel super tired, or you feel like you're running out of carbs or out of energy, or let's just say that you just had an all-nighter or you have insomnia, if you just dip yourself in a cold shower, you'll feel like nothing ever happened. Like you've just been reborn, because the shock of the body and the water to your mind and to really the whole feeling of it, you just cannot go back to sleep after that. You are born anew.
And how long did it take for you to realize, oh my God, I actually prefer to do it than don't do it? As in, it became part of you.
Probably a 2-3 month struggle.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm asking because I'm trying to inspire myself. I'm going to take on that new habit. But there you go. You're such an amazing person. How do people connect with you? Where do people find you?
For anyone that wants to check out my content, best way to reach me is really on Instagram at Jaiden Vu. It's spelled with an I, so Jaidenvu. I'm very active on there. you can also find me on my YouTube. I'm just building up my YouTube channel. So I post a lot of sales and motivational content. I'm actually getting in the midst of doing my new entrepreneurial series that Linh is actually going to be a part of. So that's super exciting. But yeah, mainly Instagram and YouTube, but I have like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn and all that. But catch me on Instagram.
That's awesome. Well, I'm not done with you yet. I've got 2 more questions for you and I'll let you go. The second last question is, this is a Kind Boss podcast. I'm always curious to know what does a kind boss mean to you?
Let me share a story. So when I was in sales, a very corporate job, and we had this really beautiful office, you can see such a beautiful scenery. It's on like the 30th floor, probably maybe the 5th floor below. And we were working with a bunch of millennials in the sales environment, and they're very dirty and stuff. And there was tissues and chip bags and everything on the floor. And there's this lovely little old lady that always cleans up. No one would give her the time of day or pay attention to her. And she works super hard, but I just in the back of my mind, I just feel like some of this can actually be cleaned up by us and make her life a lot easier, because she don't just clean our office, she cleans other little cubicles as well, right? So I wanted to make her life a lot easier. So what I actually did for 2 weeks straight was I cleaned the whole cubicle myself, and she would never know. After about a month, I got a letter saying thank you. I don't really know how, and then, I kind of know how now at the time, right? And then it was a couple of months later, my upline or my manager at the time told me, hey, look, we watched the recorded tapes, and we just want to say you're very kind. So to answer your question, a kind boss is to treat the janitor as much respect as you would treat your own partner or the CEO or the COO.
Wow, you just wrapped it up so well in the story. It just melted my heart. You're so sweet. That's beyond kindness there, because it wasn't a one act. It was this ongoing thing that you're doing and you didn't want credit for it. So seriously, that's just like credits to you. It's amazing. Last question. What do you want the world to remember Jaiden for?
A source of inspiration when it comes to depression and suicidal thoughts. For me, what's really important in the world is that it's never going to stop, I'll be honest, but if we can just help lower the cases and lower the statistics and amount of people out there that are severely depressed and ultimately take their lives, if I can be somewhat of a help and contribute to that little pool of people that are constantly on debate, ending their own life or not, and the ones that are actually doing it, I want to be able to have myself really stand for depression and suicide, because I came many times close to really killing myself. So
that's beautiful. And thank God you're still here. I've got extra question. Last question. What tip would you say for someone that's going through depression right now? They might even be listening to this because they're in a good day, but then maybe they're not another day. So what is one tip for them?
I would say 3 things. One is take responsibility. Don't blame the world. Don't point fingers. Don't ask yourself why this happened, but just own up to it. The reason I say that is because it's probably easier said than done. But if we start blaming the world, then that's the only mindset we're ever going to be, because we will never take responsibility to own up to it, to actually make an improvement and change. So don't ever blame the world. Yes, the life is tough. Life is not easy. And there's a lot of obstacles that are, pretty much blocking us from where we want to go. And there's a lot of people that are, negative and take up a lot of our time or manipulate or hurt us. But I'll just say take ownership. Step 2 is really define your why. Like, it doesn't have to be about money. It doesn't have to be about, who you're going to end up with, what job you're going to be, or if you're going to be alive. But what I mean by define your why is, if you're going to really still struggle, why are you struggling? Define this purpose to help make that struggle a little bit easier. It's not going to be easy. But one of my mentors always said to me, there is no success story without the struggles. So yes, you're going to struggle. You're going to eat a lot of crap, excuse my French, for a long time. But as long as you understand why you're doing all of this, it'll make your life a lot easier, just so you don't feel like you're doing this all for nothing. And then the third step is make sure you find a partner or someone that you can lean on, or someone that you can talk to, be on the same path as you. Because if you don't have anyone that you can open up to help you be a lot more open about the situation, because a lot of people are closed off. And the best thing that happened to me when I was depressed was I started opening up to my family, to my closest peers, my counselor. But if you have someone, just one person that loves you and care about you, and you trust them, and they start helping you really earn the respect for yourself and really have you develop the capability to open up, it's going to be wonders, because if you keep keeping to yourself, you will implode. And that's why people suicide, because no one knows. No one ever talks about it. So I would just say follow those 3 steps.
You're so amazing. I love this podcast with you. I just feel so inspired. You know, we've spoken before, but today was even more in depth. I just love listening to you. So thank you so much for being on the show, Jaiden.
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining our podcast today. We hope this interview has inspired and humbled you to be a kind boss. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think about our show. If you have any questions, please visit outsourcingangel.com. Until then, stay kind and spread love.